Hi everyone, my name is Rangsiman. I am the Deputy of Secretary of Move Forward Party, and also I am the member of the House of the Representatives. I think what Kun Pao, Kun Yi speak about the dream, I think we have the same dream. I think this is what we expect from this country. And this is the thing that oppositional party like us try to do. And I can say that constitution is the crisis of this country. As Kun Taiwan say, I can confirm that this constitution is the problem. Many people try to say that the constitution is look like can be the reason to make the crisis. But why many groups and many parties, why we want to amend the constitution? Because we think that this constitution is not reflect what people expect from this country. How many parties that say that they want to support Kun Prayut to be the prime minister? It's not much. Just two parties. First is Parang Pracharat, and the second is Rwam Parang Prachachat Thai. Just two parties that support Kun Prayut to be the prime minister. But for other parties, not much party. I mean, all other parties, they don't support the Kun Prayut to be the prime minister. So this is the problem already, because it means they don't have vote enough in the House of the Representatives to support Kun Prayut to be prime minister. But because we have the Senate, that's why many parties after the election they change their mind, they change what they promised to the people, and finally they vote for their Kun Prayut to be the prime minister. Even some party who confirm to the people that they will not vote for Kun Prayut to be the prime minister. So this is crisis already. It means we have the government that broke the promise that the many parties promised, and it means who that people expect to be the prime minister. Actually, it's not Kun Prayut, but finally it's him. So for me, for my point of view, I think this constitution is a problem. And I didn't count before the process to have this constitution. For example, about the referendum, we have the referendum maybe in 2014, no? 17. Yes, we have the referendum in 2017. And what happened? We have a lot of the people who got arrested during the process. Just the people who support the constitution that can make the campaign. So this process is make this constitution have the problem, and that's why it's crisis. Okay, as the oppositional party, we implement many motion. We implement the motion to amend the section 256, and in the same time, we want to establish the Constitution Draft Council. We implement the motion section 270 and 271. It's about the reformation of the law that the Senate can vote. Actually, it looks like the Senate will have the power similar as the House of the Representatives. And we implement the motion of the section 272. This motion is about the Senate that have the power to vote for the Prime Minister. And we implement the motion of the section 279 is about this constitution that approve that the order and the announcement of the NCPO is legal by the constitution. So we implement of many motions. Why we do this? First, we know that to set up the constitution draft council. Actually, we need the time. As Ajahn say, we need the time. Maybe it might be 2 years. But even the motion from the oppositional party, who then lead by the Third Thai party, we need time more than 1 year and a half to have the new constitution. So, for waiting this, if something happens, if finally we want to change the government, it means during this time, during we waiting the new constitution, it means the Senate still have the power to vote the Prime Minister. And if the Senate repeat the same thing, what it means we still have the crisis. It means people cannot change this Prime Minister. So that's why we implement the motion of Section 272, because we think that this is the time that we need the Prime Minister who come from the House of the Representatives. So that's why we implement this, and we need to amend some section and some issue. Because to amend some section, we need the time not much. For example, we amend the section that Senate have the power to vote for Prime Minister. We can spend time maybe around 6 months to finish this amendment. It means if something happens, people can expect from the parliament that maybe we can have the new Prime Minister that's good for this country. We can say that Kun Prayut is the one of the problem of this country because he ever be the leader of the coup d'etat too. And another problem that we have to do, the senator, all of them, no one in this country, Thai citizen, ever vote for them, ever select them. So they come from NCPO, but they have the power to vote for the Prime Minister. It means for the logic, it's direct majority. Imagine to have the representative for 250. We need the people maybe around 17 until 20 million to vote for the representative for 250 representatives. But for the senator for 250, just 17 people selected. So it's not logic, and it makes people question about this condition that is it fair for the people who are the majority in this country. So that's why we need to change. And the problem is why we cannot amend the constitution, because to amend the constitution we need 1 of 3 of the Senate to amend the constitution. And this is the problem. Back to the day that we consider about the motion of amend the constitution. We think that we can, at least the Senate will vote for the motion to set up the constitution draft council. We think that maybe they will do. But finally they didn't do. They didn't vote at all. And it looks like maybe they will stop this process. It means maybe they will vote no for every motion. If they vote no in every motion in the next term of the parliament, it means we cannot apply the new motion, not just in the next term of the parliament, but we cannot apply the new motion until May of the next year. Why is like that? Because in the constitution, they say that the parliament cannot implement the motion that we have the same principle of the motion that cancels in the same term. So we have to apply in the next of the next term. And next of the next term is around 22 of May in the next. So the Senate try to buy the time for the government. This is the thing that the government wants. I can say as the representative who work in the parliament that what the representative in the government side and including the government, what they want is time. Because they believe that if they have the election today, maybe the result will not be the same. So that's why they want to be in this position long as much as they can. So that's why they want to talk, to discuss about the amendment of the constitution should be the next year. And if we count, in the next year plus 2 years in the process of to have the new constitution, it might be the time should be enough to have the new election. So it means this process, what the government expects is time. They want to buy the time. So that's why we can see what happened in the 23 until 24 of September, that finally we failed to have the decision of the motion of about the constitution. And if you see the detail of the motion that the government implemented, we will have the constitution draft council. In this process, we have 150 members that come from the people. People can vote in each province. But we have 50 that come from, let's say that 10 come from the parliament, 10 come from the legislative, 10 come from the Senate, 20 come from the president of the university committee, and another 10 come from the student. In these 50, we do believe that the government side can control the member. So if we have the constitution draft council, we do believe that the government, at least they can control 50 of their 200. So it means they can manipulate what happened in the constitution draft committee, council. And then, in the detail of this motion, after they finish to make the new draft, we don't have the referendum. And they will apply this draft to the parliament, and the parliament will consider and have the decision. If the decision is okay, we will accept this draft. It means this draft will apply and will be the new constitution. The problem is, it looks like the government think already that they can control this draft. And how can we believe that this draft will reflect what people want? Because the committee, the constitution draft council, we believe that the government can control. At least they have 50. So that's why we think this constitution will continue the legacy of the NCPO. So it means the next of the constitution will be the crisis again. So this country will always have the crisis of the constitution. So that's why we disagree what the government try to implement of the motion of the constitution. Because finally we cannot go out from the crisis. That's why we try to implement our motion, even we know that we don't have hand enough in the parliament. But we do believe that what people demand from us can support us. So that's why we try to see the hand from the people. And if we, back in the 6 months ago, we cannot imagine how can we amend the constitution. But because what people demand, what people talk about the monarchy, what people talk about amend the constitution, that's why we believe that okay, this is the time to amend the constitution. And I can see the signal from the government that it looks like they want to change, to amend the constitution too. And for the Senate, I think I can see the signal from the Senate that they want to amend the constitution because what the protest try to speak, they speak to the owner of the Senate. And when they speak to the owner of the Senate, if the owner say, okay, this is the time to amend the constitution, I do believe that the Senate will support our motion. So it is the politics. We cannot just count the number of the parliament. So we have to see what happened in the Thailand political environment. And for this time and for these people support, I believe maybe we can do something. And yes, this is my point and my view, and maybe we can talk and maybe you can ask some questions to me.
I would like to move on to the Q&A section.